Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Lant and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 253. And if you listened last week when we were on with Mr. Ben Glasscock, I said that the next episode we were going to be joined by a podiatrist. And this man we have on today is not a podiatrist.
Repeat, not.
He is not a podiatrist. So we've managed to kind of squeeze an extra episode in with a very special guest who's just got back from the World Championships in the sport that we're going to be talking about today. But I'll introduce you to him in a minute. But next week we will be joined by Jack Kirby, who is a podiatrist. Okay, so not today. Anyway, Mr. Peter Lant, Bath, Somerset, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. You're getting more polished on these intros. I'll tell you, it's great.
Good. And we've actually got and we're all over the country today because Pete is southwest in Bath, Somerset. I'm kind of southeast-ish in Chelmsford in Essex, and our guest here is in Harrogate in Yorkshire, which I'm reliably informed is northeast, I believe. So we're joined by Mr. Jonny Skinner. On Instagram, he is Rockstar Dad UK, at Rockstar Dad UK. And for the first time ever, we are doing an interview with someone while their car is being serviced. And he's sat in a Costa Coffee.
Other coffee shops are available.
He's sat in a Costa Coffee while his car is being serviced. And we're going to be talking to Jonny today. How are you doing, Jonny? You okay?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. Yes, I am sat in a Costa enjoying the giant cups of coffee and just taking it all in. It's lovely.
Excellent. And you've just got back from, was it Milan? You've just got back from about a week ago?
It's close to Milan. So the comp was actually held in Busto Arsizio, which is about half an hour outside of Milan.
Excellent. And we're going to we will be talking in a bit about kind of GS, kettlebell sport, and lots of iterations of that, because you are upgraded very recently from a 10 times world champion to an 11 times world champion out in recently out near Milan. But probably you didn't start life doing kettlebell sport because it's a fairly recent kind of, I know you are part of the England team, you know, you've won lots of international medals and competitions, but I suppose to begin with, do you want to tell us a little bit about maybe yourself, your background, your previous, maybe any kind of sporting or athletic endeavors, or how you kind of got into training and how you kind of found your way into being, you know, one of the top people in the world at this kind of kettlebell sport?
Well, I started as any other young lad will probably testify. You start off playing football when you're young, whether you're good or bad. And I did that for many years. And as most young lads will testify, once they discover women and booze, all of that seems to go out the window.
Yep.
Oh, we've lost him.
Oh,
he must have tapped something, I think. Oh, that was good. We were going then.
it's all right. We can clip it together. That's more work for me to do.
All right. Oh dear. Oh, that was good. We were going. We're off and running there.
Here he comes.
I'll just say
Costa have obviously Costa need to upgrade their internet.
I'm not sure what happened there.
No, you were going there and then you were on a roll and it just cut off. So I don't know if you clipped your phone or something happened. I don't know. No. Okay. Okay. So what we'll do, Pete will be able to splice this together. If you start again from, you only were going for about 20 seconds, but start from, where you said like most young lads, you started off playing football, just kind of do that bit again. Yeah, that'd be great.
So like most young lads, I started playing football when I was younger. And then again, like most other young lads, you discover booze and girls. and you kind of get taken away from that, and then the obvious gym thing comes in, so you start training at the gym, and there was a long period of time when I would train at the gym and I would think I was really fit and strong, and my mother, who was into kettlebells, she got them before me, and she was always telling me, "Oh, you'd love this sport. Come and try it. Come and try it." So I thought, well, every time I was going, "It looks boring, Mum. I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. I'm not. It's boring. It's boring." And so I went to this gym, which was Big Cat at the time, the Chris Giles gym, and I went in, and I was at the gym. I was quite strong. I could curl like 28 kilos, and I was like, yeah, 28 kilos. So I picked up two 24s and thought, right, I'll do some jerks with the 24s, and was royally humbled. So I went down, and I just went down in increments of 2 kilos until I reached 12 kilos, 2 12s, when I could actually complete 3 minutes without dying. And at this point, I thought, I'm not having this. I can't. My mum was doing double 12s at the same time.
So this is unusual because because most people's mums, I don't know, mine used to do like water aerobics and stuff like
aerobatics is my dad.
So, but your mum was doing kettlebell sport, and then she sort of got you involved. So how old would you have been when you first went to this gym and started working with the double 12s?
It was about 2018, so about 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and that would make me 35.
Okay. Oh wow. So your mum was doing kettlebell sport, and you went along as a 35-year-old to try it for the first. This is really good. Yeah, excellent. Okay.
Yeah. So I went in because I went in as a 35-year-old, and previous to that, I'm a musician as well. So I did a lot of recording and gigs and things like that. So I wasn't particularly healthy. I enjoyed a drink. I smoked a little bit. I did lots and lots of drugs, and I did all sorts of crazy stuff. So I didn't look after myself at all. But this, for some reason, I picked up these bells, and it humbled me, and it awoke something in me. And I was like, I can't let this beat me. I can't let my mum lift more than me. And so I said to her, in a moment of weakness, I said, right, okay, I'll come to the gym and I'll have a go. And obviously that was the story of picking up the 24s and going all the way down. And I just kept going back and going back and going back. And I started lifting, I started doing grassroots competitions. And I got to a point where I started to get pretty good, fairly good. I wouldn't say good at all. I'd say okay. And I got the bug, and I think I tried to try out for the England team, and it was just after Christmas. I think January qualifiers, and Christmas was a normal Christmas for me, which was lots of drinking, lots of doing all sorts of stuff. And I came in and I failed. I failed the mark to get to the England team, so I was gutted. And that really kicked me into gear then. And I got into the England team, and I said, right, I said to my mum, I'll do this sport and I'll win 1 gold medal, international. I'll win a gold medal, and then I'm going to stop. And 11 golds later, I've upgraded my criteria, and I'm going to go for 15 and then have a reevaluate. But yeah, it's.
And was your mum competing at a kind of a good level herself when she got you involved? Was that?
So my mum is I think she's a 2-time world champion in the veterans. So she's an incredible woman. She's very strong, very determined. Must be where I get it from. But she's still lifting. She's approaching 70, 68, I think she is. And she's still lifting now. Still, she's knocking out the sets. She comes to train with me. If you see some of my videos on Instagram, she's in the background often with.
I have done. The
partner's there as well, but my mum generally is in the background lifting away, complaining that I'm getting in the way of the camera.
Because I was going to say, because I'm doing maths, I think you're approximately 43.
42. I'll be 43 in August.
Okay, so 43 in August. Yeah. So your mum, like you said, she's like late 60s now. That's incredible. And I suppose 2018, I think you said. So that's going back kind of 8 years from where we are now. What was kettlebell sport? What was the setup like back then? I mean, was it was it as popular as it is now? Was there as many? Because I know there's so many options now for competing in lots of different events we've spoke about before. Things like the pentathlon, you've got the World Games, you've got all these things. But originally, kettlebell sport was really just the long cycle and the snatch, and then the clean and jerk, wasn't it? Is that what it originally was? So what was the setup like 8 years ago?
So the gym that I went to primarily did GS Sport, which is the double long cycle, double jerk and snatch. But they did the jerk and the snatch at biathlon, and then you could do the long cycle as an additional. And they would generally, you'd qualify for comps at WKSF lifting organisation or the IUKL. I know that marathon sport was available at that point. I don't think pentathlon was, and World Games definitely wasn't. So it was the bracket was small, and the members I think the EK had was fairly small as well. I mean, I've seen lots of lifters come and go, but that in terms of how popular the sport is with people actually lifting kettlebells, at the moment, it's grown massively, and the quality of the competitions has got better. You know, there's the one we just were at Busto Arsizio was absolutely incredible. It was like an Olympic event. You know, the setup was just so professional. You walked up on that stage and it was just amazing. Really, really best one I've been to yet. So it's coming a long way. It needs a boost. It still needs a kick up the arse to put it into the into sort of the mainstream. And I don't think personally, my opinion is that kettlebell sport as a whole, it's not very marketable because it's very difficult, and people go, it's boring. Unless you know what it is, it's boring. So me and my business partner Hannah are trying to develop a relay competition style in a high rocks vein, so we called it KBX, and it's short lifts to try and entertain beginners and get people into that whole the end part of a comp where they do a relay. It's really, really great, and we're trying to bring people in that way and then fire them off to wherever they want to go, you know, whether it's marathon, GS or pen, you know, stuff like that. But it's definitely got the potential to be really, really big. It's just how we get it there is the thing.
I think yeah, sorry, Pete, go on.
I was going to say that's one of the funny things because like it looks boring, but the athleticism you guys have is mad. It's up there, isn't it? You know, and it's like, and it's not. You're not even. You know, there's only a few people who are that athletic, aren't there? Within the sport itself, because there's loads of people coming up and through. So you can imagine what it'll be like in the future. When people are taking it even more seriously, it becomes a bigger sport. It's like, you know, it produces machines, doesn't it? It's amazing.
Well, it is. It's a sport for the stubborn, definitely. You know, it's. I'm very stubborn, and I'm dying at 15 minutes with a 32. But I'm like, I'm not stopping. He's not stopping, so I'm not stopping. And it does require a lot of athleticism, a lot of fitness, a lot of strength. It's a really great. I mean, it's essentially it's an endurance weightlifting sport, you know, and that's why I think in a format that is entertaining, i.e., like short bursts of the lift, it could be really good as a spectator sport. I mean, Ollie, who you've had on your podcast, he commentates on some of these things that we do, and he's absolutely so knowledgeable about sport because he's been in it longer than I have. And it's really great. It provides a link for the person watching who's got no idea to the lifters, and he explains everything. And I think that's what it needs when these competitions are broadcast live, or you know, they're just, or maybe having a PA at a comp so people know what's going on from a spectator sport. But creating that link and creating that excitement is something that we need to do to get the sport growing more.
You should be able to do a little like slow motion replay. Like at this point, you can see just when his soul left his body. At around about minute 9.
Yeah. You see the colour drain from his lips.
Yeah, because I mean, lots of sports, don't they? Like, I mean, something like cricket, which, you know, is a very traditional sport with hundreds of years of history, has now got this kind of 2020 and this kind of more accessible for the spectators. You know, all sports are kind of trying to become more accessible, aren't they? Certainly for spectators, you know. because I think the kettlebell sport, it has got the potential, like you say, the barrier to actually entry is very low. It's not a sport that requires you to be rich. You don't have to be a member of a golf club or a tennis club, or, you know, most, I think that's kind of, I don't know if I'm right or not, but it seems that around when we had the pandemic, and lots of people bought kettlebells, didn't they? Because they were something that was easy to use at home, didn't take up a lot of space. You could kind of just do it in the back garden, even if you only had like a small, you know, like a postage stamp kind of courtyard back, you know, sort of back garden. You could go out, or you could do it in the lounge or the kitchen or whatever. I mean, are you finding that are young people getting involved in this? I know when I've been to a few of the shows in a few of the comps in Northampton and things, there are some young people getting involved, but is it something that young people come into, or is it more that they would maybe be the sons or daughters, or, you know, of people who do it, that would bring them in? I mean, is it a sport that attracts young people at the moment?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether you know of Steve Gordon up at Two Nova in Darlington.
Yeah, the name rings a bell, and I think we're probably
Yeah.
connected online. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got an absolutely superb youth team. You know, he's got some absolutely incredible lifters. The guys and the girls that he's got up there, and you know, and they're all kids between sort of, I don't know, maybe early teens and 17, 18, something like that. I think the trouble is keeping them in the sport when they reach 18, like me with the football. You know, they go to uni, or they just go and get a job, and they find it difficult to manage the time to keep doing it. But the sport is definitely attracted to kids, and he's proof of that, because he's taken an England team to the Youth England Championships, and we've got a really, really strong youth team. You know, watching them lift at Corfu, at the IUKL comp in Corfu, it was amazing. They were absolutely fantastic. So it is there for kids. I think it's just a case of getting them. It's that bridge between not doing it at all and then having a go. You know, my kids have had a go, and there's some of our KBX coaching sort of gym that we have. We've got some kids down in Beaconsfield, where it's based, who are into it as well. So it's definitely got that attraction. I just think it's not quite as attractive as it could be.
Because you mentioned High Rocks earlier, obviously, and that's just exploded, isn't it? And I think that's a very simple format that, for whatever reason, it's just kind of taken off globally, and you know, thousands and thousands of people take part. In fact, one of the friends of the show, former guest Laura Shanks, has just flown out yesterday to Chicago for the World Championships out there. But I mean, so that's kind of becoming a kind of a legitimate sort of global sport now. And I think if you could, well, like you said, what did you say? Was it KBX? Is that what? Yeah. So KBX, yeah. You know, this format, if people could, because lots of people know. I mean, it's amazing. We're talking to you, obviously, and we've had the podcast. We had lots of people from GS kind of backgrounds on, but still, I think the majority of, even so, if you think maybe 10% of the population go to a gym, so most people may know what a kettlebell is or what one looks like, but still probably the vast majority of the general public don't know that there's such a thing as kettlebell sport, do they? They just know there's a kettlebell there, and they may think, oh, you can swing it, you can row it, you can press it, but it's not known as a sport. But I suppose that will come, won't it? I suppose that's what you're trying to do with the KBX stuff.
Yeah, definitely. We're trying to push the sport. I mean, it's got different levels of how big it is in various countries. For example, you know, I win a world championship and I come back to Harrogate and nobody cares. But some of my competitors, they will win. Like, for example, the Indian guy, Nirav, a really good guy. He came second, and he was on the national news, you know, with his silver medal. And I'm like, I want that. You know,
but that's quite funny, because you can't even get Harrogate interested. He's got 2.5 billion people or whatever it is in India watching him on the telly.
Exactly. You know.
Yeah, he's on the national news, and you're sat in Costa Coffee talking to us. Yes.
And there's no place I'd rather be. No, it's great. It's at different levels with exposure. I think from my how I feel it is, it's you've got to make it a bit more rock and roll. You've got to make it cool. You know, people to look at you and go, "He's cool. What's he do? I want to do that." You know,
Yeah,
so
it's funny because if you look at, like, I mean, we interviewed a lot of strongmen on here, strongmen and women and stuff, and that's lifted really heavy stuff, and they're all like massive. And you know, you look at like Olympic weightlifting, and those have got, like, you know, they move really well, and they've got the deepest squat, and they're lifting stupid heavy weights and all that. But with kettlebell sport, everyone looks normal, and it doesn't look that heavy compared to all of that. But that doesn't mean it's not like super hard as well, because it's obviously for reps and a lot of reps as well.
Yeah.
So I think, from my perspective, it's getting to people to understand how athletic you guys actually are and how hard it actually is, even though it, you know, because like a lot of people, you'll show them a 40-kilo bell and they won't be able to pick it up, let alone do cleans with it for however long. But they'll still look at an Olympic weightlifter and go, well, they're lifting hundreds of kilos, so it's not that heavy. I can't lift it because I'm weak, but you should be able to lift more than that because you're an athlete. And it's like, you know, there's that lack of understanding, I think, of how hard it actually is.
It is. I mean, if you think about in half an hour, you know, I'm lifting on a 32 in total weight. My total weight moved is thousands of kilograms. And, you know, it's tons. It could be 15, 16 tons worth of weight moved. Even with the 40 kilo set, you know, I did 175 reps in 10 minutes. And it's like, that's a hell of a lot of weight to move.
Yeah.
It's getting people to, this is why I love going to these fitness expos, and you have the bells there, and we had a strongman. We went to the true athlete one in London. And a guy who came up says, "Oh, I do a bit of strongman stuff." And he was a big bloke. And I said, "Oh, it's 40 kilos. And he was like, "Oh, can I try and put it above my head?" Yeah, go for it. And he eventually got it above his head, but he was wobbling all over the place and all this. And then I picked it up and just did a few reps with it. And he was just like,
I do that all the time because I'm only little, and I'm old as well. But I train guys in the park, and we'll have a 24. And you'll get people coming past, go like, "Well, what do you do with that?" And I'm like, "Well, pick it up and put it above your head," and they can't. Yeah. And one of the guys who I train's 56, and he's wiry, he's a cyclist and all that, but he can press a 24 like it's nothing. His son, like, we're in Bath, so his son was waiting in the park for the bus to take him to Glastonbury last year. And he came over because we were training. And his son was like, "What does that weigh?" And his son's 18. You know, he's like, "What does that weigh?" He was like 24. And he was like, "All right, okay, not much then." And it was like, "Well, pick it up and put it above your head." And he couldn't do it. He couldn't. And then I said to his dad, "Andy, pick that up." And he was like, "Boss, straight above his head."
Yeah.
And the kid, he just went, he goes, "Oh, that's old man strength, isn't it?" And I'm like, bollocks. He works in an office. Old man strength used to be working in the factory and all that. And your dad was always super strong, wasn't he? And I was like, "No, it's because he's trained it and you're doing something else." And it wasn't like to show him up or anything. It was just an interesting thing because he's 18. He should be like, you know, he's getting stronger and stronger, and he's genetically getting towards his prime. So yeah.
But it's like you said, Jonny, like if you're used to going to a conventional gym and lifting, say, with dumbbells or a barbell, and like you said, you used to be able to like curl 28 kilo dumbbells. So then you think, oh, it's like this is the old thing, isn't it, where people start to get involved in kettlebells and they think, well, I'm going to buy a few for home. And they look at the weights and they think 12, no, 16, no, 20, no, probably like a 24 or a 32, you know, because they've got no idea what they're going to do. And it's the same when we've had like Mr. Mace Man on here, and we've done stuff to do with maces. And I know obviously Hannah does a lot with maces. I don't know if you do, but then again, you compare, well, a kettlebell, I can use a 24. So a 10 kilo mace is going to be really light, but because it's something totally different, it's like you've got no kind of way of judging the weight you should be using, you know, because people underestimate the weights, don't they? Yeah.
Mace is bonkers. I tried to do it. I was doing it. We went for a training session with Ollie up at Wolfpack, and me and Hannah went up, and she said, "Oh, try this mace." And I was like, "Oh, go on then, I'll give it a go." And I had an 8 kilo mace, and I was hitting myself with it. It was dangerous.
Yeah.
I was like this. So it was, it's really difficult. I kind of, when I see the guys, we did a little competition at Hannah's gym when we had some guys doing maces, and he was doing 60. One guy was doing 60 or 20 kilos or something. I'm like, well, you know, with respect, I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so interesting. So in terms of the competitions that you do now, I mean, we've mentioned a few things. We obviously, so you've got things like half marathon, which is 30 minutes non-stop lifting, marathon, which is 60 minutes non-stop lifting. I know there is, like Ollie talked about, like an ultra marathon, which is like 2 hours or something non-stop lifting. But then
we did that in January.
have you done the 2 hours? Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, what did you do for 2 hours then?
Jerk was on the 24 for 2 hours.
Did you?
Yeah.
Just one. I say just, but one bell.
Yeah, just one.
Just one.
No. The reason why I'm asking is because we've had David Keown on, obviously friend of the show, who's into his stones now. But I see
legend.
little bit into his stones now, isn't he? Just a little. But he holds the world record, doesn't he, for double? It's double clean and jerk, isn't it, with 260?
He used to until a few weeks ago when a chap who's Steve, my coaches, he broke it.
All right.
But it, by a few reps. But David had that record for absolutely ages.
Well, yeah, and the interesting that's why I'm asking, because it's like, because you guys are now starting to do this a bit more regularly, obviously with one bell and stuff like that. But now, I think basically because you'd speak to David and he's like, no one's broken it because nobody can be bothered. Because why would you? Why would you want it? However, now it seems to be becoming part of the thing, right? So yeah.
I think the endurance side of it is, it's almost like what have you done? So, well, I've done 1,925 reps in 2 hours, and people are like, wow. And then some people, because of the makeup of people in the fitness industry, it's like, I want to do that. There's a lot of sadistic buggers in this industry, and they're all like, I want to hurt myself. I mean, I can't talk. I'm doing a 24 hours in September, so with the IKMF rules, you can lift the bell and put the bell down, but as long as you keep going, have a little break. So I'm doing effectively 45 minutes on, 15 minutes off for 24 hours. So,
wow. And what are you doing there? What lift is that going to be? Like a clean and jerk, or?
No, same. My jerk. I do jerk, and I'm pretty one-dimensional.
So that'll just be just jerk and change hands as often as you want, but you got to go for 45 minutes, put it down for 15, and then go again, and just for 24 hours. Wow. Yeah. And what weight are you going to try and do that with?
24.
Oh my God.
I'm going to do that tomorrow.
What weight are you going to do it?
What am I going to do it with?
What weight are you going to do it with? Yeah. And is that what? Are you going to do that for charity or something? Or is that just going to... Yeah.
It's a world record attempt where we've contacted Guinness about it. So Hannah and I Hannah's came up with this idea of 24 hours, find your fit. And we've got gyms from all across Europe. I think even the world actually, all logging on at the same time and going for 24 hours doing fitness classes. We've got a couple of the guys from the England team doing skier for 24 hours. We've got rowers for 24 hours, golfers, boxers, all sorts of stuff for 24 hours. So I've got a few people joining me in the gym doing 24 hours. So yeah.
Is Hannah doing it as well?
Hannah, no, she's running the event, but she'll be doing...
So it was her idea. She's like, why don't you do 20 more hours of kettlebell lifting? Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, thinking about it. Yeah. No, she's to be fair, she's going to be running classes for 24 hours. So she'll be doing a class every hour for 24 hours, which in itself is an achievement. So that's happening on September the 5th, and that's going to be really interesting, because that'll be the longest anyone's lifted a bell for in those parameters has been 12 hours. So
I'm going to say, yes, you're going for the Guinness World Record, but no one has done this before. This is the first time it's been attempted and registered properly. And wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
And how do you go about, probably I would imagine that like you said, pig-headed kind of, just grit, because that's got to be mainly, obviously you physically have to be able to do it, but that's mainly mental, isn't it? That when you start doing these, even like 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, but that's got to be mainly kind of mental, hasn't it? The kind of thing that will get in most people's way.
Yeah, it's purely mental. Not purely. I think you have to have a level of fitness that enable you to do it. The important thing for this thing is the fueling. Rest. Whether I'm going to come off at some point, and I'm going to go and I'm going to sleep for 10 minutes, and then someone's going to give me a kick in the ribs, and I'm going to get back up and start lifting again. And so it's not about pace either. So I don't have to hit a certain rep speed. As long as I keep that bell moving, it's all about what's up here. It's that tenacity of I'm going to do this, and because I'm like I say, I'm an awkward bugger. I want to do it because people think I can't. So it's like, well, I'll do it anyway.
And have you done any? We've spoke about this before because we've had Mark Tonner on, who did a 24-hour deadlift challenge for like suicide prevention. He's like a he's like a military veteran who's only got the use of one arm, so he does deadlifts with like a sling. So he did a 24-hour deadlift. We've also had people who do like 24-hour running, like round a running track, and we've spoke about this circadian rhythm thing before. Like when you try and go for 24 hours, at a certain point of time, your body just wants to go to sleep because it's meant to go to sleep at night. So have you done anything for 24 hours before, like in terms of a challenge, or how are you going to train?
Except drinking.
What's that? Except for drinking.
Except drinking. Yeah. I could see his face. He was like, well, actually.
No, but have you done any kind of like physical challenge for 24 hours before? No, yeah. Because will you try and do? Because like when people go like, I know that when, say for example, like a boxer's going to go from England to Vegas and they're going to be boxing, they try and sort of start training at the time that they're going to be fighting out here to try and get the body kind of accustomed to it and the body clock and things. Would you start doing some like middle of the night sessions, or you think you're going to do?
I've got a few planned. So I'm going to go through the night and just get used to, or recognize what I'm going to be feeling at certain points during that lift, so I can identify what I need at that point. I know it's going to be hard. I do genuinely believe I'll be able to do it. I just think I'm going to have to prepare. I am preparing myself now. I'm preparing myself in terms of being able to do 45 minutes relatively easily. And have that recovery time of 15 minutes, and really nail down my fueling and my hydration and things like that, because they're all super important when it comes to this type of thing.
That's incredible, isn't it? Yeah, that is. And you're going to have other people doing it with you at the venue that you're going to do it. There'll be other people going for this same thing, will there?
Yeah, that's right. There's a guy called Nicholas Stick and another guy called Richard Freeman. There may be other people. I think there's people. Oh, that's it. There's people coming from Italy. So Italian lifters from Italy, and they're coming across to lift with us. So
I know Nicholas actually. I bought some meals off him. Some Persian meals which were made by the guy Peter at Body Mind Fit, who. But sadly passed away last week or the week before, actually. He's a big thing in the community, but he was like everyone all over the world has got Body Mind Fit stuff. But yeah, he sadly passed away. But I bought some meals off Nick during lockdown, I think it was actually. Because he bought them, they cost a fortune as well, and he bought them and he was like, I never used them. He goes like he had a lockdown, bit of lockdown mentalness and just went crazy buying meals. So I took him off his hands.
Yeah, he's a good lad, isn't he? He's one of the vegan athletes, vegan team athletes, and he promotes that a lot with Jennifer Hintenberger, and I think there's a few of them actually that are on that team. But yeah, more power to them, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's we've kind of touched on the mega endurance stuff there. The 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 24 hour that you've got coming up. And then kind of on the flip side of the coin, you also do this very heavy 10-minute kind of world game stuff as well.
Yeah.
Don't you? So is that, because I think you've just won, is that, so what have you just won the the kind of the world championship in? Which event did you just win in Milan?
So I got a gold in the military snatch.
Yeah.
I came second in the one-arm jerk on the 32. That was I get basically in the WKSF they merge the weight categories. So I'm in this 87 up to 87, and then I was merged with 3 heavyweights that were all 5, 6. I think one of them, the one who won, was 30 kilos heavier than me.
Okay,
My good buddy Fran Cuenca, they're all lovely guys, but he can lift for ages. He's an absolutely superb lifter. So I don't get near him, or I'm catching him up a little bit, but yeah. And then in Parma, I won the gold on the one-arm jerk, 40 kilos, and got a world record in my weight category on that as well.
Wow. So what's the military snatch that you mentioned first of all?
So the military snatch is snatch, but multi-switch, but for 12 minutes. So the military snatch is what the Russian military do in full army regalia, and they're sort of one of their standards is to lift for 32 for 12 minutes in full military gear. And so that's where it came from. And obviously they have different levels. I did it on the 24, and I'm going to go on the 32 next year. Have a go at that, because I think I've achieved as much as I can on the 24 with that. But yeah, it's just multi-switch snatch for 12 minutes. It's good.
Oh, so it's not a different technique or anything like that.
It's no, not different. It's still snatch. It's just multi-switching. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. And on that, is it if you were to put the kettlebell down, your set stops? You can't put it down for the 12 minutes, or?
Yeah. It's you're not. So in the IKMF, if you put your bell down before the time is up, this is in the marathon. Your whole set is gone.
Yeah.
It's
zero.
You're allowed to put the bell down. The same lift. You're allowed to put the bell down in WKSF through it, and your reps will count. But yeah, most of the time, like with the World Games, that's.
So then you can't pick it up again once you put it down. That's the set finish, but your reps count. Okay. Yeah.
There's lots of little different changes in the rules between each lifting organisation, which you've got to be aware of when you're lifting in all the different ones.
And then the 40 kilo jerk, you do that for 10 minutes, do you? Yeah, and that's change hands as often as you want, but you if you put that down, does it count or not?
Yeah, it counts.
Yeah, that counts. Okay, but do you tend to do the full 10 minutes without putting it down, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I want as many reps as I can get. I mean, I beat my own world record by 3 reps this year, so I'm quite happy with that. But I'm chasing 200. I really want to get 200 in the 10 before I stop.
So that's almost a half body weight kettlebell, isn't it? Because if you're competing at around 87 kilos or top end 87, and you're doing a 40 kilo bell, that's near to a half body weight kettlebell.
Well, usually IKMF is the IKMF weight categories are 85, so I've got to be at 85 and under, and I usually weigh about 82 when I'm at an IKMF comp, so it is pretty much half my body weight.
Yeah. Wow.
It's really interesting on this as well, because you're like, well, why don't you just use a lighter bell and do more reps? But it's like a point system, isn't it? So you've got to get like to the point where you can do 10 minutes or whatever it is, but keep going as well, but get a good cadence. It's like, it's really mathematical, isn't it? How you fit it all in.
It is in World Games, there's 2 weight options: female 28, male 40, and that's just it. And so it's rep for rep. But in the IKMF, you can use right the way up to a 40 kilo bell. So, like say, I could lift 40 kilos for 30 minutes, and someone else could lift 28 kilos for 30 minutes, but he'd have to get a hell of a lot more reps than I would to make it even, because there's a coefficient applied to each bell weight in that one. And then with the WKSF, which is a bit different, they have specific weight, so that you can't get any heavier than a 32, which is the elite weight, and then you have a coefficient according to your body weight and how many reps you've done in the set. So you could do between 420 and 450, and you'd have a 1.2, for example, coefficient. But then when you went to 450 to 480, it would go up to 1.3. So it's a bit complicated, but it makes it a little bit more even, if you know what I mean. There's a reason for the coefficient.
Sounds like there must be some good Excel spreadsheets used at these things. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got mathematicians on the judging panels, like going like this.
Yeah. Wow. And have you ever tried, or have you ever done pentathlon, or is that not something that interests you, or you have tried that as well?
Yeah, I've done pentathlon. Did it at the qualifiers. I actually qualified in it to do it, but I don't know. I prefer doing these. The things that I'm good at, I've always said this to people that I coach, is that if you want to be really good at something, like really good, just do that thing. You know, and a lot of people, when they come into the kettlebell world, the problem is they do one thing and then they go, oh, I've done that now, I think I'll try this. And you generally they end up being bang average at everything, you know, rather than sticking at something. But people go, oh, it's boring. It's like, yeah, but that's the thing. Put aside the entertainment factor. If you want to be the best at it, drill it all the time, every time.
That's where, and Ollie said this himself. So it's not a slight on him or anything, but he was like, he could have been better. I mean, he's already really good, obviously, but he used to do like 3 or 4 different events in the same competition and everything, didn't he? And people were saying but he's that mentality, isn't he? He just wants to keep going and going and going. But like, it's like, how much more could he have done if he'd have just concentrated on that one thing?
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, I think that Ollie is an all-round lifter, is absolutely superb. You know, he's really great at loads and loads of things, but he has put the work in for it. It's the new lifters that come in who go, oh, I've tried pentathlon, you know, I don't like that. I'll try half marathon. Oh, I've tried that. I don't like that anymore. And you just don't end up working out the kinks and becoming that next level. And I think I've literally done jerk from the minute I stopped doing GS, which was about 2021, something like that. I've done nothing but one-arm jerk.
It's interesting though, because it can be done the similar way to, like, you know, how it's done for the Olympics and stuff like that in certain countries. They just get people in and they go, right, you're going to be good at that. You're going to be good at that. You're going to be. So the guy mentioned, I can't remember his name, but who's got the youth team. Like you say, people will do some stuff and then go, oh, I'm not sure about that. I'll do that instead, or I'll do that. And it's like, where does the enjoyment come from? Does it come from the variety, or does it come from actually being really good at the thing that you're doing? And then does the enjoyment come from that? Because then you start winning and you get the points and all of that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you can be like, well, I want to do pentathlon, but I'm really good at I don't know, marathon or whatever, but I want to go over to pentathlon. However, I'm really good at that. So that could spoil the enjoyment of it, couldn't it? Because you never win in it, because you're not doing the thing that you're really good at, and you're not winning the thing that you're not built for, sort of thing. So it's interesting to get kids involved in that way. So then it's like, actually, you know, if you want to win, do that. And it might make it easier for them to make the decision, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, there's Steve and his lifters, he does exclusively GS lifting. So his lifters literally do jerk, snatch, long cycle, and that's it. But I think in terms of the enjoyment factor, I don't know. I get enjoyment from training and then seeing my results, or seeing the result of that training come out on the platform. And you know, when I get a medal put on my neck, that's where my enjoyment is. I'm like, I love that competitive, competing side, and proving to myself that all the work I put in, it means that I've earned this medal. You know, it's the competing, the training, all that hard work is really, really cool for me. I don't want to just come and take part. I've never been like that. I want to win. I want to win. I want to at least get on the podium. You know, that's all. For me, that's the enjoyment side of that battle. You know, that sort of seeing someone else being 2 or 3 reps ahead of you and going, right, I'm going for you. That whole side of it is really, really interesting to me. I don't think kids get that because they're not I don't know. It's difficult now because at school they don't have first, second, third anymore, do they? You know, when they're doing sports
So
days and
just
stuff like that.
participation and stuff.
Yeah. So they're not taught what winning is feeling, what winning feels like.
Because we spoke about
this is where, hang on. This is where we need a Patreon account, right? And go, right, we're going to stop there. And then we're going to do all the politics stuff about kids not medals in schools and stuff like that. But you have to pay for that. Honestly, James, new business model there for you. Let's do the controversial stuff on the other side.
I was going to say, Pete, because you've talked a lot, haven't you, about the book mastery and about the kind of dabbler and the rest of it. And really to master something, you have to you have to kind of just put the time in to do it. And I think that so many people, this is where like people who are really good runners, obviously the best runners in the world are the people who win, like, you know, the marathon majors, you know, your kind of Kipchoge's and those kind of people. And then you get people, I'm not saying that but people think, oh, running's a bit boring. I'll do like, I'm not saying this is the same for everyone who does it, but I'll do triathlon because then there's 3 things I can do. You know, I'm going to be running, I'm going to be swimming, I'm going to be cycling. And then you've got people who do like maybe obstacle course races and things like high rocks, like we mentioned, where there's a bit of running, but there's also this and there's more variety. So I suppose from a, if it's just a recreational thing and you're doing it for your health and for your enjoyment and to participate in something, then doing or Spartan race or something like that, you can have as much variety as you want. But actually, if you want to be really, really good at something, like you say, you have to focus and niche yourself down, don't you? And then you have to have that mentality of, well, I'm not going to, and Dan John talks about it. He says, have the courage, you know, not to get bored, you know, or not to use boredom as an excuse for doing something else. Because, that's boring, I'm going to do something else. When really you're just saying you're bored because you don't really want to put the work in. Do you know what I mean? To do one thing. Yeah.
I could never imagine getting bored because I'm not perfect. You know, I'm not a perfect lifter. I've got more goals now than I had when I started. You know, I want to get to 600 on the 32 in half an hour. There's so many things I want to achieve, and you can't get bored because I haven't finished it yet. You know, if I don't even know how I'd get to the point where I would get bored of doing it. You know, I just find there's so much there that I need to do that I can't. It's going to take me forever to. It's what I love about kettlebell sport is that you never complete it. You know, you never get to the end of it and go, right, done that.
I was about to say your Instagram profile will look great in the future when it's like Jonny Skinner, Kettlebell, Rockstar Dad or whatever. Kettlebell Sport completed it, mate.
Yeah.
I was just looking, I just did some maths just there. So for you to do, 32 kilos jerks in 30 minutes, 600 reps, that's 1 rep every 3 seconds for 30 minutes. So that's 20 reps a minute for 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I've done 20 minutes at 20 RPM.
Okay. And what's the most you've done in 30 minutes? Did you say
514?
514. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So to put that in the context for anyone who's like looked at the strong first snatch test and stuff, which is like 100 reps in
5 minutes.
5 minutes with a 24. It's basically that, but for longer.
For 30 minutes.
5 times as long with a 32.
With a 32 and jerks. Yeah. God. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very hard. I mean, there's lots of different factors that limit you. You know, whether it's your cardiovascular system, whether it's the buildup of lactic acid in your muscles when you're doing it. You know, it could be the heat, it could be your mindset that day. There's so many different things, and everything has to fall into place. You definitely have to be fueled and hydrated. That's something that I've really found over the last few competitions. Fueling and hydration. Sometimes it's more important than the actual training itself. You know, because you're expelling so much energy and so much water if it's hot. If you don't have enough in the tank, you're scuppered by midway through your sets. So all that stuff is so important. But yeah, it's my favourite thing that I've ever done ever. And I absolutely love it.
And in terms of just a touch on this before we kind of wrap up, is like, because I know obviously doing that amount of time, a lot of people have, I mean, in terms of hand care and what with the jerk is what you're going to be doing the 24 hours. How are the hands over that period? Because I presume when you like swing change to the other side, do you change with two hands, or do you? So do you find, do the hands, do you get hand tears and things like that when you're doing? Not with the jerk, no.
Not with jerk. The only thing I found when I've done a long set, so marathon, is when I go like that and it goes swing through my legs. These parts of my hands wear and they get sore here. Yeah. But then some people have also said to me, be careful when you're doing a 24, your hands will start to swell. So it's all a bit of it's a new thing for me. So I'm not sure, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh no, it is incredible. It's incredible. And this is September, yeah, where you're doing the 24 hours. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And will there be some kind of live stream just going the whole time?
Yeah, there will. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, no, you have to let us know nearer the time, and we'll put it out, because that'll be incredible to. Not that many people will probably sit and watch for 24 hours, but if you could just dip in and dip out and say, "Yeah, he's still going. Yep, he's still going."
Yeah. You could go to bed and then wake up in the morning and just check, and I'll still be there lifting.
Still be going. Good.
What I love about when people do stuff like that, it's like in films when they've got something going on somewhere else throughout the film. So 12 Monkeys, for example, Bruce Willis, and there's the kid stuck down the well. It's like the little side story of the kid stuck down the well, and he's like, "Oh, I remember that," and that goes on throughout the film. And there's like that's like a side. It's kind of like that. This will be going on in everyone's life. They'll switch it on and go, "Yeah, he's still there." And then they'll go off and do something, and go down the gym, go and watch a film, go and watch the 10 Commandments or something, come back, switch it. Yep, he's still going.
I am the kid in the well.
Oh, this is going to be fantastic. Yeah, I had no idea you were doing this, so this is great to hear about it. So what is next for you then? Obviously you've got this in September. Is that where most of your focus is going to be going between now and September? Is this 24-hour Guinness World Record attempt?
I've got a bit of my attention on that. I've got a qualifier for the competition in Hungary at the end of the year in August. I've got what else? I've got the Hungary competition to think about, but yeah, mostly it's all to do with the September 24 hours.
Excellent.
We get to Hungary and only have to do an hour. It'll be easy, won't
it? So what will Hungary? Will that be 32 kilos for the hour?
Yeah.
Wow. But once you've done 20, like I say, when you've done 24 hours, you'll just be like, well, that's just like getting going. That's the warm up, really. Yeah.
No time at all.
Wow.
You said in some competitions you have to do the full time. So if it's half an hour and you put the bell down halfway through, there's no count. What would happen if it was an hour and you started half an hour in? Because that would be really showboating, wouldn't it? I'll get the most reps, but I'll just do it in half an hour. Like,
well, actually,
you just sit there. You just sit there like with a coffee or something while everyone's lifting for half an hour. Just go, all right, so I'll get started in a minute.
I'd have to look into that, but interestingly enough, my qualification number for the Hungary competition in the hour is a number that I can get in training in half an hour. So it's 430 or something, and I can do that standing on my head.
Do you reckon it'll be frowned upon if you did that though?
Probably. Well, it's a very good example if I'm sort of sat on a chair having a fag, like
like Superman 3
sportsmanship. Bad sportsmanship kind of thing.
Superman. Yeah, we'll go films against Superman 3, isn't it? When he's the bad Superman and he's like, there's a disaster. Don't worry, I always make it in time, and then he doesn't.
Dear me. So if people want to follow you, Jonny, you are, like we said, you're on Instagram at RockstarDadUK. Are you on YouTube at all? Do you do stuff on there, or where is that the best place for people to go, to the Instagram one?
Instagram's the best place. We're going to do a KBX YouTube and all that bits and pieces, but we're in the processes of setting it all up.
Okay, and that's you and Hannah, is it? Doing that?
That's right. Yeah.
So Hannah's friend of the show. We've had Hannah on the podcast before.
Yep.
So
that's
top
lady.
Yeah, top lady. Yeah, brilliant. Oh,
so you
that's
can find him on Instagram, YouTube, or in the nearest Costa Coffee in Harrogate. Just wander in, you'll be there. Hiya.
That's great. And well, hopefully that's made the time pass a bit while you're waiting for your car to be serviced. I don't know.
Yes, yeah. I was about half an hour to go. Half an hour to go.
Brilliant. No, thank you so much for joining us. And like you say, literally, I think I only messaged you yesterday, actually. And I just sort of said, oh, any chance of coming on tomorrow? And we kind of managed to get it sorted out really, really well. So that's brilliant. So make sure you do give Jonny a follow, like I say, at RockstarDad UK on Instagram. And then, like I say, nearer September, when the 24-hour challenge is coming up, we will sort of share how to live stream and how to watch that. That's absolutely brilliant. So next week we will be back, and we will have the podiatrist with us next week, Jack Kirby, and that'll be episode 254. Thank you for watching, listening. Please do like, share, subscribe, leave a review if you're watching or listening on a platform that allows you to do so, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts. We want to get reviews on there. Thank you so much, Jonny.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mr. Peter Lant.
You're welcome.
Good. And we will be back next week for episode 254. Until then, bye-bye.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com, or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.